Okay, so continuing to think about equanimity, it's been nice to spend time with this and keep flipping up these images that come to mind, and I've realized that what I'm doing sometimes is, the word I might use is saying this person has a personality, and then it just kind of peers at that image, and it's this one thought that I have about them that I kind of freeze in time and then have reactions to. And in our teachings about, I think it's in the ones on love, somewhere in these teachings that help us to work to transform our mind, and Venerable Children always emphasizes that we need to see the kindness of others. And I've noticed that, and oftentimes when I'm setting my motivation, I've set a motivation to be kind. And what I've realized over time is that that motivation is wonderful, and it's a little too weak as long as I keep having these images, because it's a lot easier for anyone to have generate a feeling of love, or be seeing the beauty in another person if they can kind of appreciate them, or have this sense of seeing their kindness and wanting to repaying it, or even having respect or understanding for them. If anything on that side makes it a lot easier. So when I just try to set the motivation to be kind, and I haven't kind of dealt with this image that flashes up, then it's actually quite hard to hold that motivation. And so I think this is the amazing thing in the thought training, that we can actually tear apart this image that we're putting up there and actually see the kindness of others. And this has been the whole thought training teachings, kind of, I guess because they just go against so much the grain of our habitual thinking and our tendency to concretize things and make things so solid, that it's sometimes difficult. The mind goes, well, aren't you just whitewashing things, and that's not true, and they did this, and the mind just rebels sometimes. But over time, it's become clear to me that the initial doubts I had about thought training were based on seeing things as so concrete. And so this is what I love about this meditation of throwing up the image, because the one way I learned a few years ago to break into my affliction in relationship to another person was to look at them. And I would just make myself look at the person. And then there'd be this disparity between the image I've painted in my mind that I'm reacting to and what I'm actually seeing. And so I think, putting this all together, I think if we want to have a mind that's equanimous, we have to really figure out what's going to work for ourselves. And luckily, and for our benefit, the Masters taught these teachings, and really trying to see the kindness of another person will just make it easier for us. And why would that be a valid thing to do? Because that's what I think I used to kind of bump into. And Venerable has answered this recently, saying that any person, speaking of sentient beings, are the main way we want to see them is they're suffering and they've been kind to us. And when I break it down to that, and I can try to wrap my mind around that, even if I'm not always successful in the moment, just attempting to do that helps to dispel the energy that's behind the affliction that's keeping my mind from being able to be equanimous. So I think that it's a valid basis to think of sentient beings as having been kind to us, as having suffering, and then therefore being worthy of our making this effort to, try to chill out.